Welcome to FIREWATCH. I'm your host, Ronald Campbell. As technology changes, the Raleigh Fire Department works hard to keep up with those changes in technology. Today we're at Station 12 learning about a new addition to the Raleigh Fire Department's technology capabilities. To talk to us a little bit about that is Paul Roberts. Paul, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about what your role here is with the fire department.
I'm the IT technology manager, which means I handle all the technology for the fire department. Computers in the fire stations, rip and run printers, and now, since we're moving into the next phase, actual mobile data terminals in the fire engines, as well as mobile data terminals in the chief's vehicles as well.
And that's why we're out here at Station 12 today, is to talk a little bit more about these mobile data terminals and to take a look at one in person. Could you tell us a little bit about what these mobile data terminals are?
Sure. They're just a smaller compressed version of a computer. So, for example, it's kind of a hybrid between a desktop and a laptop. It gives you the capability of ruggedized systems that are in the field that can hold up to the wear and tear. So it has a little more capabilities than the standard laptop and more mobile than a desktop. So it's kind of the merge of those two technologies that give us that availability to do this stuff in the field.
So it's really tough. I think we were talking earlier, and you mentioned that a regular laptop computer just wouldn't serve the needs of the fire department because they're not just tough enough.
Correct.
So this is a very tough version of a laptop, so to speak.
Correct.
What are some other features about the mobile data terminal that sort of sets it apart from your standard laptop?
Well, on this one, actually, the system that we use is actually a component-based system. So it actually has a little box, which is a computer that's separate. And we actually have two 15-inch monitors as well as two keyboards and mouse so that the system can operate independently of itself. So if one component breaks, we don't have to buy a whole new system. We can kind of piece it back together. Also, what's nice is that laptops normally don't have, at least in a ruggedized field, have a large screen. And also, in our business, we have people doing stuff in the back as well as in the front. So the captain can take over the computer up front and move stuff around and do stuff that he needs that can help the firefighters in the back, and vice versa. The firefighter can update and give information to the captain up front that he can see, and it works. It seems like it's working pretty well so far, and there's no, that I know of, system out there besides this one that kind of gives you that ability with the two or multiple monitors, whereas if we went with a standard laptop and they wanted to share the information, we'd have to almost have like a swing arm that the laptop, they'd put some information in the back, they would digest information, they would have to swing that laptop somehow to the front of the apparatus, and then the captain would be able to view it, whereas now it's simultaneously happening. So
this is really useful for the captain and the firefighter in the back. Like you were saying, now everybody can see everything that's going on in real time.
Correct.
There's no delay of passing something back and forth, so it's more user-friendly.
Correct.
And that accounts for the rugged part, that it needs to be tough when used in the fire setting.
Correct.
What are some of the programs that are found on this that make it different than, say, just your standard laptop?
Currently, what we're doing, we are working in conjunction with Wake County ECC. We're using in-vehicle navigation, and they have a program called PMDC, which is their mobile data client. And then we have our own applications, mobile firehouse, pre-planned information. Then we have a full-blown firehouse on this system as well. So it's very specific applications to the fire department that help them get from point A to point B quicker, faster, safer, and provides them the information that they need on scene, contact information, the size of the building, if there's any type of chemicals in that facility before they enter into that facility. In the past, it used to be held in binders and books, and currently it still is in binders and books, but now we're moving more to the technology thing. So, for example, if an inspector has this system out in the field, they go out and inspect it, update some chemicals or update the name, that information is automatically updated, and then the firemen have access to this information as well.
Are there any other cities or agencies in the area that are using this type of a program?
Firehouse I'm not too sure about, but I know Wake County EMS is using the in-vehicle navigation, and other agencies, fire departments within Wake County are getting ready to roll out their mobile data client, which we're currently using as well. It's still in pilot phase. So once we get a finalized package rolled out, it'll be a little more useful. And the good thing about the in-vehicle navigation system is that if there's any updates to calls, that information automatically gets provided to the terminal. So, for example, if a call gets upgraded or downgraded, or if there's more information about the patient or their condition, that automatically gets updated so the firemen are better prepared to deal with the situation when they get there.
So are there other fire departments then who have used this type of mobile data terminal in other fire engines anywhere in the country?
I think it's pretty prevalent. We're unfortunately on the backside of it, and Russell Allen has been very forthcoming and helpful with getting funding and helping us actually move forward in the technology phase. Mobile data terminals probably have been around at least for about 12 years. Probably not in this type of magnitude that we're using it. The vendor that we currently use, we're the first known client to use two 15-inch monitors in this type of application. They have smaller monitors, but I felt, and working with the fire department, they felt that the larger screens would be much more useful, and so far I think it has been a benefit to have these larger systems.
So from a standpoint of the technology, you say we're sort of on the back side of bringing it into the engines, but we're sort of on the front edge of bringing the large screens and still trying to adapt it to fit our needs. So we're kind of in the middle, I guess you might say.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to kind of hold back and wait to see what everybody else is doing and see what the pitfalls are of some other issues. For the most part, a lot of times it's they put a laptop in place and they have a special mount that they can actually slide between people, and it just does. Some of the things I've seen just didn't seem like it would fit our needs very well, because a lot of our stuff is very short runs. We want to make sure that the information is coherent. It's not secondhand. Everybody can see the same information at the same time. So that's kind of the premise that we use to actually look at these systems and try and get pilot this program at this station.
Well, Paul, I appreciate you talking to us a little bit about the technology behind the program. I know we're going to talk to some folks here about the actual utilization of the technology in the engine, and I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks so much, Ronald. I appreciate it.
To talk to us about how these NDTs can be used from an operational standpoint, we're joined by Captain Craig Hodges here at Station 12. Captain, thanks for joining us on FIREWATCH.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
So, first of all, how long have you been with the Raleigh Fire Department?
25 years.
And in those 25 years, how does this station rank as far as busyness?
This is my busiest assignment to date.
All right. So far, this has been the busiest place you've been assigned.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this mobile data terminal, how do you guys use this from an operational standpoint?
We have the ability to, the CAD system, when our calls, when we're dispatched, the information comes up on the screen for us. If anything changes while en route, it flashes red. We have access to right now, a little over 22,000 pre-plans. We have access to our full firehouse ability, just like we do here in the station. It also has a GPS, which in our first in territory may not be as useful, but if we do have to venture out and answer the other part of the city or with another company, could be very useful.
And from the standpoint of a ladder company, that type of information will be very useful because ladder companies serve a larger territory than an engine company.
Absolutely.
Have you guys had a chance to use this system yet?
I was filling in on the car one day, battalion car, and had an incident where we needed a key holder. Looked it up, cross-referenced it. Headquarters had called me. They were having problems. I went to the computer, we looked it up, and within 5 minutes had a name and a contact number, and were able to get in contact with the person and have them meet the company that they needed.
Now, as a captain, how would you use information that you would get, say, out of firehouse when you're on a fire scene?
Just if we need to quick reference or cross-reference or look something up, we've already used the system as far as we pulled up the Wake County tax information to get property owner information on a couple calls we've had. Just the ability to have additional resources available to us.
Well, Captain, thanks for joining us and telling us about how you can use this new technology from an operational standpoint. I know the long-term plan is to try to get these on every engine and every ladder in the city, and I think we can see how this could be useful to not just the firefighters, but also to the citizens in Raleigh.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
We're joined now by Fire Chief John McGrath. Chief, thanks for joining us on FIREWATCH. We've talked about these mobile data terminals from a technology standpoint and from the captain standpoint. From a fire chief standpoint, how does this benefit your firefighters and captains in the field?
Mobile data terminals allow the fire department to capture the power of information. It allows us to strategically plan better. It allows us to respond more efficiently and safer. It protects the citizens and it protects the firefighter. And overall, it's just a good thing in the age of information for us to be able to operate with that information at our fingertips.
So you've talked about, I know I've heard you say many, many times that if all of your firefighters go home at the end of their shift, you've done your job as fire chief. How does this system accomplish that goal?
This system allows critical information to be at the tip of the spear of the people who are responding at 3 o'clock in the morning. Information that allows them to make good decisions to optimize the possibility of no injuries occurring to either civilian or firefighter, such as occupancy load, material that's stored in the building, size of the building, fire protection safety systems that are there for their protection and the people who work in this building, information that lead to the contacts for people who might have the information if we don't. And it puts it right there without a time delay, and time is critical when we respond.
So there's a lot of good reasons why these systems are needed on our fire engines.
These systems just bring us so much more efficiency, safety, and the ability for us to serve the citizens in a professional manner, in a timely manner, in a safe manner. It's just an incredible piece of equipment.
Well, I think I've heard from everybody who has seen the system in action that it is quite a piece of technology and has many benefits for our firefighters in the field. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about it from a chief standpoint and how it can help keep your folks safe. So thanks for joining us on FIREWATCH, and we hope to have you again soon.
Always a pleasure to be here, Ron. Thanks.
We're joined now by City Manager Russell Allen to talk to us about the mobile data terminal and how it's going to benefit the citizens of Raleigh. Mr. Allen, thanks for joining us on FIREWATCH.
Oh, happy to do it. Love to be here.
So from a City of Raleigh standpoint, tell us about how this mobile data terminal and how it's going to benefit the citizens of Raleigh.
Well, first, I'm really proud of the fire department. They really are cutting edge on just about everything that we do, so it's an easy guinea pig for us. And I really do believe in technology and the benefit of technology. In the fire department, first key linchpin base for us is just having really well-trained firefighters, and we do. They're first class. Second is to make sure they have the right kind of equipment and rolling stock and other materials that they need to really do a good, safe job for our citizens. And the third, which is just more and more predominant, is the use of technology that really just takes it to one other level. These mobile data terminals, I'm convinced, will raise us another notch, will help us to be responding better to the citizens and safer for our firefighters with more information on the scene. That's not just my hope or expectation, that's what I'm hearing from firefighters about this system. Well installed, well thought through, just great support for this system, doing all the base work to make sure we get it right, doing the tweaks on it to make sure that it does exactly what we expect it to do. So very happy with it. I think the citizens, ultimately what they want to see is the fire department showing up there with the right information, right equipment, well-trained employees, and we can assure them that's what this will help us do even better.
Mr. Allen, I know from a cost standpoint, these terminals are fairly expensive. How do we justify the cost for our citizens versus the benefit that they will receive?
Well, first, the city's most important investment is in public safety. That's the one thing that as citizens expect us to do very well. And so we always place a high priority on public safety, both on the staffing level and the equipment level, and now in technology as well. And so, comparatively, technology is fairly inexpensive as compared to other equipment that we need for a fire department, like engines and ladders and other things. So it really, in that regard, is fairly inexpensive. But providing that information that keeps our firefighters safe, that really allows people for faster response from our fire department, it's hard to place a real cost value on that. But I'm convinced that this is a very, very good investment. We're rolling it out slowly, so it's not like we're purchasing all these terminals at once. We want to make sure it's the right kind of system, that we tweak it, and then we'll stage an investment in over a period of years rather than trying to do it all at once. So as far as I'm concerned, a very affordable way to approach technology in the fire department.
Well, Mr. Allen, I know the fire department appreciates you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come out to Station 12 today and take a look at this mobile data terminal and give your input as to how it can benefit the citizens.
Well, thanks. I'm really appreciative of all the work the fire department does, and particularly on this special project.
There's been a serious accident in Greenwich Village on West 10th Street. 12 firefighters have been injured. 5 are reported to be in serious condition and are hospitalized. The fire captain on scene said they were responding to a call that proved to be a false alarm. But looking at the injuries and all the damages, the captain told this reporter there's really no such thing as a false alarm. Your local fire department protects you. Take it seriously.
Welcome back to FireWatch. In 2007, there was over $900 million in property damage and 295 civilians killed in fires that were traced back to arson. Joining us to talk about arson awareness is fire protection engineer Tim Henshaw. Tim, thanks for joining us on FireWatch again.
Thank you for inviting me, Ronald.
So tell us a little bit about your involvement with arson and investigations here in Raleigh.
Well, in the city of Raleigh, it's a collaborative effort between a team. There are firefighters in different stations that are members of this team. We're called in on large fires to help investigate. We also have a full-time firefighter that is assigned as an investigator on A shift, B shift, and C shift.
And this team is also comprised of Raleigh Police and other agencies as well, right?
Oh yes, fire investigations are a very, very difficult thing to do, and it's a collaborative effort between not only the fire department, law enforcement, but also the legal sections here in Wake County.
In some jurisdictions outside of North Carolina, I know fire investigators and fire personnel have arrest powers. Is that the case here in Raleigh?
That is not the case here in Raleigh. Our fire investigators are trained in the art of fire investigation. They dig out the scenes, they learn from the evidence, they collect evidence, but we do not arrest people. We leave that to our law enforcement officials.
And if it's a big enough incident, sometimes the State Bureau of Investigation will be called in, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. So it could go from a local response to state and even national agencies.
It really, really could. We constantly work with RPD, the SBI, and many times the ATF and the FBI get involved on criminal investigations.
What type of incident would be required for the FBI or the SBI to be called in?
Well, usually, since it's a collaborative effort, those folks are listening to our investigations, and sometimes they'll just come over and help assist us, but many times the fire investigation has ties to a federal crime, or there's issues there that the feds need to get involved with, and so therefore we work as a team and get to the bottom of it.
Every May in the United States, there's 1 week that's set aside for arson awareness, and this year the theme was arson awareness, arson for profit. What exactly is arson for profit?
Arson for profit is usually when an individual goes out and lights a fire for profit. And this profit usually comes from an insurance policy or a premium that they pay out, and therefore it's criminal activity because they're defrauding those insurance companies.
So not only are they committing arson, but they're also committing fraud.
They sure are. And unfortunately, it's a serious criminal act because people could be injured or killed during an arson.
What are some things that people typically burn for profit?
Well, it usually starts out with simple things like their home. Say they're behind on their mortgage and they need to catch up, they'll burn their home. Also cars. Cars are very expensive today, and therefore people commit an act of arson upon their cars. But it also extends to businesses, trying to put your competitor out of business, or say your business is doing badly and you just need to get out from under it and have been unable to sell it. Arson might be enticing.
So really anything that people are making payments on, you could conceivably commit arson on to get out of the payments.
That is correct.
But you run the big risk of being caught and sent to jail.
That is a very, very big risk, because what happens in a fire, many things are left unburnt. We get there very quickly, we extinguish the fire, therefore there's a lot of evidence left at the scene that the investigators can use as clues to track down who set the fire.
Well, and not only from an arson standpoint, but also from a firefighter and civilian safety standpoint, anytime somebody commits an arson, they're putting lives at risk.
They are, and first off, they're putting their own life at risk. Many times arson, people that commit arson are amateurs. They don't understand fire behavior, and they're using flammable liquids and things to start these fires. Many times the fires get out of control so quickly that they're usually caught on fire or killed right at the scene.
And then again, mentioning the firefighter safety side of it, I know that's something that's very important to us in the fire department and on FireWatch is the safety of all of our firefighters. Anytime somebody sets a fire, they're running a risk on injuring those firefighters either going to the fire or once they arrive. And that's just really not an acceptable risk.
It is not. Many civilians, I think 295 in 2007 were killed, multiple firefighter injuries, civilian injuries, and firefighters' deaths. We enter these buildings to extinguish the fires, and when they've been set on fire intentionally, there are very big hazards there for us that could injure or kill us.
So there's all this stuff out there about arson for profit and people burning things to make money or to try to get out of making payments. What are some things that folks can do to maybe reduce their risk of being a victim of arson?
Well, you want to reduce the hazards. Go around your home and your business. Make sure your doors and windows are locked in the evenings when you're not occupying it. Make sure that you also do the same with your car. Illuminate the exterior. If you have outside lights, you can turn those on to look to see if anyone's around. You can also join community watch groups. Make sure that these people have their eyes out. Your neighbors can look into your backyard, help you see what's going on around your community. Look for strange people that might be committing crimes and setting fires. Also, you could work into removing trash, large dumpsters, trash cans, things in the alley, combustibles that you can remove and dispose of properly. That's what you need to get rid of.
And really also, if you see some type of suspicious activity or suspicious person, you should report that to the authorities.
You should always report that. You can do that, if it's not an immediate threat, back to the community group, discuss that with your neighbors. But if you see someone that really looks like they're going to commit arson, please call the police immediately, utilizing 911.
Well, Tim, we've talked about how arson and the investigation unit is set up here in Raleigh. We've also talked a little bit about Arson Awareness Month and what people can do to help reduce their risk for being a victim of arson. Is there any other information that you would like to share with the viewers about arson or just investigations in general?
Our investigation team treats all criminal activity very, very seriously. And the job of the fire department is to not go out and track folks down. But we have to, unfortunately, because there are people committing crimes. What we want people to realize is prevent these fires. Don't let arson profit take over our community. Be aware that there are people that commit acts of arson, and help us, the investigator. If we come to your town or the area of town that you live in, help us find these folks so we can remove them.
Because normally when somebody commits one arson, they just don't stop at one, do they?
They don't. They continue to commit these crimes until we catch them, unfortunately.
Well, Tim, we appreciate you joining us on FIREWATCH, talk a little bit about investigations today.
Thank you, Ronald, for having me.
To report information about a suspicious fire or possible arson in the city of Raleigh, you can contact the Raleigh Fire Department Investigation Team at 420-2362. You can also call a toll-free arson hotline at 1-800-334-3000. For more information about arson investigation in the state of North Carolina, please visit www.nciaai.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to FIREWATCH. Every June, the Raleigh Fire Department hosts the Fallen Firefighters Golf Tournament. And joining me to talk about the golf tournament this year is Chief Rusty Sines. Chief, thanks for joining us on FIREWATCH again.
Thanks, Ron. Always a pleasure.
So tell us about the golf tournament. First of all, what's your involvement with the golf tournament?
Ron, I guess I'm something of the director organizer for the tournament. This is our third year. The National Fallen Firefighters Foundation started a fundraising effort 6 years ago. They had a single-site golf tournament for the first 3 years up in Emmitsburg, Maryland, where the foundation is located. And they were so successful that their director, Phil McLaughlin, decided or came up with the idea of expanding the program across the nation. Well, Phil just happens to be really good friends with our fire chief, John McGrath. So he gives John a call, and John, knowing that I'm an avid golfer, comes and talks to me about being willing to host and be the organizer for the tournament. I was very excited about the prospect. So that's how we got the tournament here in Raleigh. Originally, it was only 9 teams across the nation. That has grown to 50 teams this year across the United States and in some of the United States territories. So it's a very exciting effort at this point, and we're proud to host the event.
So the funds that are raised from the golf tournament, what do they go to support?
Well, the funds go to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, which is an agency designed specifically to support the families of fallen firefighters. They have a variety of scholarship programs. They do a national event each year. They maintain our national monument, which is located in Emmitsburg, Maryland, and their offices are there.
So that's what the funds go to. How then do you raise the money at the golf tournament?
Well, the beauty of this program is that all the organizers, everybody that puts their work and time into it are mostly firefighters, of course. And it's a totally volunteer effort. There are absolutely no administrative costs associated with the tournament. Every penny that's raised, every sponsorship dollar that comes in goes directly to the foundation, of course, after we meet our expenses to the golf course and that sort of thing. So it's a very efficient way to raise money. Last year, the entire effort, I think there were like 20 sites last year, and we raised over $250,000. So with double the sites this year, we may be able to raise as much as $500,000 for the foundation. So that's very exciting.
If someone wanted to participate, say they are an active golfer, how could they do that this year?
Well, we're very fortunate this year. We've sold out already for this year's tournament as far as participants in the golf tournament are concerned, but there's still sponsorship opportunities. We do a pretty standard bronze, silver, and gold sponsorship opportunities. Sponsorship start at $100, and we get whole signs for that. You're included in the program, and we've been very fortunate. We have a lot of support from our surrounding community and our surrounding business community. We've typically raised in the neighborhood of over $10,000 each year, and of course in this tough economic times that's been a little challenging this year, but we're getting pretty close to that mark.
That's fantastic. Now, the day of the event, what are some of the activities that are going to go on?
Well, we have just a blast the day of the event. We have sponsors that come in and feed everyone breakfast. The golf course provides free range balls. We have this great putting contest that we get in. We'll have a big prize, typically the latest model of a Callaway driver or something of that notion. The tournament starts at 10 o'clock. You've heard of a shotgun start in a golf tournament. We have a bagpipe start. Our local bagpipe corps, the Wake and District Pipe and Drums, comes out and does a performance for us as we pull out on the carts. We fellowship and have a great day, a Super Bowl tournament with 3 flights of winners at the end of the day. We have a major raffle at the end and a large meal, a good heavy meal at the end of the day. And we honor one of our, the family of one of our fallen brothers. This year we hope to have Miss Tiffany Jones, who is the daughter of a Raleigh firefighter, will be joining us and will be our honored guest.
A lot of work goes into it on the front end, but on the back end, on the day of the event, just a lot of fun.
It really is. In fact, like anything, the first year we did this, we thought we'd pull our hair out. But we've done it a few years now, done it enough that we're a little better at it these days, so it's not quite so stressful, and the day of the event is always a lot of fun.
Well, Chief, we appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us about it, and we'll see you on the golf course.
Ron, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
For more information on this golf tournament and tournaments around the country, you can visit firehero.org. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a fire station and the captain was telling me a story about a recent call that they went on. The captain told me that this company went to an emergency response late that evening. When they got to the home, there was a family standing in the front yard and their home was on fire. It turns out that the family had a dryer fire after they had gone to bed for the evening. Fortunately, the family had a working smoke alarm in their home. When the smoke alarm activated, the mother got her 3 children up and they all exited the home and went to their meeting point. Smoke alarms save lives. Please make sure that you test your smoke alarm once a month and that you replace the batteries twice a year. For more information on this and other topics, please visit our website at www.raleighNC.gov/fire prevention.